Hello, I'm DeDe, and in this session we'll do 30 minutes of traditional yoga with an emphasis on balancing poses to maintain and build better balance, stability, and even confidence. What you'll need for this is a yoga mat if you're on a hard floor. Place it in the same orientation that I have mine. You'll need a folded towel. You'll need some water that you can sip throughout. You won't need your shoes and socks. You'll need plenty of space. And give yourself permission right now to skip something if it doesn't feel right for you. Also, feel free to take any of the modifications that I give if they feel better for you. All right, so we'll stand tall with the ears and shoulders and hips, knees and ankles all in one line. So one straight line. Make your pelvis level all the way around. And if you tend to have a little bit of rotation or side bend going in your body, see if you can correct and come back to a truly upright and neutral position called mountain pose. And then we'll bring our palms together in front of our heart center. And we'll try to hold on to this alignment with the eyes closed now. And then we'll breathe in and out, deepening our breath, thinking about our low back ribs, thinking about expanding those with the inhales. So we've already begun to do a little bit of a balance challenge, and that's because we're standing still with our feet fairly close together with our eyes closed. So that's a little bit of a balance challenge. We use our eyes quite a bit. Our vision plays a big role in balancing. So we've taken away that aspect. If you've closed your eyes, that's an option to not close your eyes. You'll always have that option. So if you expand your lower back ribs first on your inhale, that'll give you lots of filling time, which means you're deepening your breath, slowing your breath down a little bit. And that's going to help you with balancing. Here's why. The quieter your brain is, the easier it is for your body to be still, and that helps you balance. This deep breathing helps to quiet our mind down. So make sure you're utilizing it right now. It will be to your advantage. All right, now if your eyes are closed, let them open. Let's bring the arms down to the sides now. And then we'll come up on the tiptoes of our right foot, and then we'll switch to the left foot. So up and down, a little bit of leaning with the rest of the body because we're shifting the weight to our standing foot. So because we've taken away part of our base of support, it was already narrow, that's already a challenge, and now we're taking away part of that narrow base of support. So this is challenging our balance to another degree. We're also helping to warm up our calf muscles, our ankles, our feet, our toes. One more. All right, now both heels are down. Let's make our heels a little bit lighter on the mat, so that means you make your toes a little heavier, and then you make your heels heavy again. Now we're going to start to lift the heels a little bit. Don't lean forward too much or you'll start to fall forward. Speaking of that, if you need to be near a wall, or a countertop or a sturdy chair back in order to stabilize and steady yourself with some light support. Make sure that you move yourself over to one of those spots. Bring your chair over if you need it. So we're lifting and lowering both heels. And we're still trying to hang on to that mountain pose alignment. So you may start to feel your calf muscles working to lift your body. All right, let's inhale, lift up, and then as your heels come down, exhale, bring your hands together. Inhale, lift up, your palms face forward as your arms go back, and then exhale, fingers reaching forward. And again. We'll stay down this time. Let's inhale. And then on the exhale, shift your weight, lift your right knee and hold on to your shin. That's your exhale. And then inhale, switch sides. So we want to stand up straight and tall. If you can't get your knee up without rounding your back forward, then don't lift your knee up all the way. Just do this. So I'm on my toes. Still challenging my balance, just not lifting the foot up as high. Remember, we have an incentive to keep the deep breathing going because it helps us with balance. Lifting leg side, you can flex your foot so your ankle is stable. One more. And then our feet come back into the mountain pose position. Inhale. Exhale, hands on your thighs, knees are soft, you hinge forward. We'll do that a few times. I'll show you from the side just so you get a clearer picture of what we're doing. So your head and neck is staying in line with your back. And if you have any trouble keeping your back straight and neutral like this, bend your knees a little bit more, that will help. If you feel like your hamstrings are tight and it's keeping you from keeping your back straight, bending your knees can fix that. So because we're just getting started, we want to put our hands on our legs to support the back so it doesn't have to work excessively hard right away. We want to keep it a little bit more gentle at first. So these are hip hinges, like you have two hinges right here, and we're hinging our way down. Let's do one more. All right, now let's stand all the way up. Inhale, reach your arms up, lean into your right leg, and then exhale. And when you're ready to inhale, we'll go the other way. Lean into your left leg, and when you're ready, exhale back to center. Now, if you can lift your foot off the floor, your opposite foot, you'll do that. Now, if you can keep your arms a little straighter, turn your palms in toward one another. Otherwise, your elbows can stay bent. So we want to be in the shape of a star. So when we're up and over and lifted, you want to have that 5-pointed star shape with your body. So your arms and your legs and your head, those are the 5 points. So of course, standing on one foot takes away quite a bit of our base of support. So if you still want to do the easier version, which is here, where your foot doesn't come all the way up, that's fine. Just keep doing the one that works for you. Let's do one more each way. Last one. All right, and then bring your feet down. Let's roll the right shoulder up and around, and the left shoulder up and around. You can turn your torso. Keep your knees a little bit soft. So I talked a few minutes ago about closing your eyes and how that makes balancing a little bit more of a challenge. So does this. So does turning our head and changing our focal point. So turning the torso, turning the head, if that doesn't throw you off balance. Now watch, we'll start to make it more of an elbow circle. Just go at a pace that works for you. The pace of your breathing is always good. Let's start to make this a little bit straighter arm now. Big arm circle. Now, if you're okay with turning your head, see if your eyes can follow your fingers. Let's do a few more. If you find that the deep breathing that we've been doing makes you lightheaded or dizzy, consider that you may not be inhaling and exhaling for the same duration. You might be exhaling more than you're inhaling. And that can actually make you feel lightheaded. All right, and then we come back to the center. Now inhale. Exhale, chair pose. So that means we bend at the hip, the knee, and the ankle. Slide the hands down. Let's do it again. So an example of getting lightheaded from your inhales and exhales not being of equal duration is when you're blowing up a raft to go in the pool or in the ocean. Have you ever gotten lightheaded when you've done that? I think we all have probably experienced that. That's because we're putting so much emphasis on the exhalation that the inhales and exhales are out of balance. And so what you're feeling is that out of balance situation in your body. So if you start to notice that while you're doing your deep breathing for your yoga practice, just kind of slow down and see if you can maybe emphasize even inhales and exhales, not disproportionate. All right, now we're in the down position here, and then we'll inhale and tip the tailbone up, and then exhale and tip the tailbone down. And try to make this happen through your low back, not your upper back. So lumbar, pelvic area, not the thoracic spine, not the upper back. shoulders down away from your ears. One more. Now let's come back to neutral spine, and then we'll inhale and press off the legs and stand slowly back up. Now we'll take the feet out to a wide stance. Take a couple of steps to get there. Turn your toes out to match the turnout of your knees, and let's sink down here. And then we inhale and rise up, and we exhale and sink down. As usual, we want to press the knees open so they line up with the center of the feet. So the pressing open of your knees, that happens from your groin, your hip joints. So you'll feel more opening through your inner thigh area when you do that. All right, now let's try arms out with the thumbs up. Now, this is our starting position with our arms. Inhale, take them up, either bent to elbows or straight arms. Exhale, out to shoulder height. And again. If your arms are straighter, turn your palms in. Two more. So there's a little bit of balance happening here because we have our stance so wide. Now hands on the legs, sit down into this wide stance, knee bend. Now we'll alternate our heels lifting, all right? Shoulders back and down, keep breathing. Right heel up, and then left heel up. Just lift and lower with your breathing pace. So we're creating some strength in our legs and hips, some muscular endurance there as well, and also some flexibility. I'm sure you can feel the stretch through your inner thigh groin area. One more time with each heel. Then we'll take the hands down, walk with your hands over to the right side. Now we're coming down into a low lunge, so drop your hips down. Your knee is over your ankle. You can be on your fists here if that feels better than palms or fingertips. Inhale, let's exhale, turn so your back is to me, and then we'll go the other way. So inhale, turn toward me. We'll do each of those one more time. Is your back leg still straight? Keep it as straight as you can. You can have your hands on yoga blocks right now as well if that's better. Now this time, we turn with our backs to one another. We stay here. Now you're going to make your hand that's on the ground, your left hand, you're going to make that lighter on the mat. So now this becomes a little bit more about leg strength, core strength, and balance. Can you feel the difference? Make your left hand as light as you can. And then make it heavy again, and we'll walk hand over hand around to the other direction. Find your proper lunge position with your left knee over your ankle. Drop into the low lunge. Inhale, fingertips, fists, or palms. Exhale with your back to me. And then inhale and switch. Turn your front to me. And again. leg as straight as you can make it. Now with your back to me, hold here and then get lighter on your right hand, the one that's on the floor. Make it as light as you possibly can without changing the shape of the pose too much. And then we make it heavy again, and then we walk to the halfway point. Turn your toes out, coming up with hands on the legs, neutral straight spine, toes and knees turned out. Inhale, exhale, twist. Back to center. Twist the other way. One more time each way. All right, finish with one more of those wide stance twists. And then come on back to center. Stand up, watch. I just want to preview something for you. Here's a lunge. Here's pyramid pose with both legs as straight as you can make them. And here's the pyramid pose balance where you're reaching back for your back leg. I'll give you lots of options, but I wanted to preview that for you. Come into a lunge facing toward the right. And then you can be fingertips, fists, or palms. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale, moving toward pyramid pose. And then do it again. Bend your front knee. As you inhale, straighten it as you exhale. And again. All right, now we straighten the right leg as much as we can. And then we think about making our hands lighter on the ground. Even if we don't take them off the ground, they're lighter. Now, if you can take one off the ground, then maybe you reach back for your back leg. If you can do both, then maybe you reach both hands back for your back leg. Keeping your right knee as bent as you need to. All right, and then we bend the right knee and we walk hand over hand around. And we find that low lunge pyramid combination on this side. So here we go. Inhale down. Exhale, find some straightness. And again. Two more. Now this time, find that front leg straightness and hold there. Make your hands lighter on the floor. And then maybe you reach one hand back. Maybe you don't. Maybe both hands. So this is flexibility. This is strength, this is muscular endurance, and this is, of course, balance training. All of that at the same time. All right, and then we bend the left knee, we come back to center. Once again, with the wide stance, turn your toes out, hands on your legs, come halfway up. Let's walk the feet in closer, back to our mountain pose. Now you don't have to turn sideways, but I'm going to so you can see better. Warrior 3 is next. And I always like to say, I want you to think of yourself as a teeter-totter. So your torso and your leg, they go at the same time, counterbalancing one another, like a teeter-totter. So we'll start in our mountain pose. You can soften your knees maybe a little more than you normally would. Right leg back, thumbs can touch the center of your chest, and then we'll begin to tip. How far over you tip is totally up to you. You can go all the way over to 90 degrees, as long as your hips are not tilting to the side too much, or you can stay at 45, or even closer to upright than 45. And then we'll teeter-totter our way back up to mountain pose. And we'll do the other side. Left leg back, find the rigidity with your torso and your lifted leg, and then tip. Keep breathing. And then we'll start to tip back up. And we'll step in. Back to mountain pose, shoulders back and down. All right, now we're coming down into a forward fold. So if you're facing me, go ahead and turn sideways. Soften your knees, slide your hands all the way down, bend your knees more, and then walk your hands forward, and then walk your feet back. Just for a moment, move into plank pose, and then your knees come down and you sit back into child's pose. Now here's a good opportunity for you to add some extra padding under your knees if you need it with your folded towel. So an easier child's pose, a little bit harder, and then this one's a little more challenging for flexibility. Child's pose, think about what's happening with your feet. Are they even? You might have your big toes touching. You might have your heels apart, but try not to fold your feet over or have both sets of toes facing the same direction. They should be facing in or maybe a little bit more straight back, but make it symmetrical. And then we're coming to a side lying position. So you may want your hips and or your elbow to have this extra padding. I'm going to choose my hips. You can also fold your yoga mat in like this for your elbow padding if you're using the yoga mat. So let's line the front of the body up more or less, knees, chest, nose, all in one line. And then we'll reach back with our top hand, we'll grab our top ankle, flex your foot, and then we'll pull the top knee back without going into too much of a back bend. So that means your front ribs stay pulled in. Shoulders away from ears. Let your knee go back until you feel the right amount of stretch for you in the front of your thigh and the front of your hip. Make sure your knee is not pointing upward. It should be pointing that way, where your feet would be pointing. All right, let's release that, and we'll go to the other direction. Line your body up. Make sure you have the extra padding where you need it. Flex your top foot. With your top hand, grab your ankle, and then back your knee up. You always have the option of not holding onto your ankle when we're doing this type of stretch, in which case you would just keep your hand in front of you. Most people are successful in holding onto their ankle here, but don't do it if it doesn't feel good for you. Backing your knee up as much as you can to create the right amount of stretch sensation for you. Coming up, pushing ourselves up, we'll move into a 90-90 hip stretch. So that means your front knee is 90 and your back knee is also about 90 degrees. And then you'll turn toward your front leg and you'll lean forward a bit, keeping your feet flexed. You should feel that stretch in your hip, the hip of the front leg. to get to the other side, we just do that. That's a pretty easy transition, right? Find your 90 degrees with your knees, and then lean over your other leg, which is now the front leg. This hip stretch feels so good for my hips. I hope you enjoy it too. All right, let's come up. Now you may want to sit on your folded towel right at the front edge. And that looks like that. See what happened there with my pelvis? It tilted forward. You want to let that happen for your pelvis as well. So see how I'm right at the edge? All right, so if you're sitting on your towel, you'll sit on it that way, crossing your ankles, moving your feet further forward if you need to. Ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips. Now we inhale the arms out, and then we exhale into this side bend, and we hold. And then we'll inhale and come up, and on the exhale, we'll hold over here. Coming back to the center, roll your shoulders up and back and down. So how did you do? Did your ability to balance become challenged at any point? I hope that you start thinking about balancing in a different way, in a more holistic way, because we use our body, we use our vision, we use the position of our head to help us balance. As usual, thanks for joining me, and until next time, be well.